Hey folks, well welcome to Horn Island where I've been since Tuesday, so today is Saturday, and I've had a great time. Anne's flown in to meet me for a few days. Goble and McIntyre were here at this time in 1924, but got stuck for 6 days due to weather. That is no surprise. There have been bouts of torrential rain coming and going the whole time we were here, including this morning. I should have left by about 10:30 this morning, but still here because it's been raining pretty solidly. It just lifted about half an hour ago. But that weather's moving south, and which is the direction I need to go. So if I take off now, I'm just going to catch that weather in 15 minutes. So I need to sit it out a bit longer. It's been a really great stay here. Having Anne here meant that we looked around, and we're very strategic on how we do it. Anne arrived on Wednesday with her flight flying over Wednesday Island as she landed. On Thursday, we went to Thursday Island over on the ferry, and local guide Dirk showed us around. And amazing island, 3,000 people are living there. And we found the tour was really interesting. It is a small island, so there's only so much to see. The tour lasted about an hour and a half, but the cemetery was one of the things that really stood out. It was the happiest cemetery I've ever seen. The most colourful headstones with really intricate detail, including this one, who designed the Torres Strait Island flag and all of the details. And what the headstones do here, they just go into great detail of the story of people's lives and make sure they really share it in detail, which I think is a lovely, lovely idea. It will survive long past the eulogy on the day. People heard we were going to Thursday Island here on Horn, but one piece of advice we consistently got was for lunch you have to have the crayfish toasty at the Star Cafe, and sure enough, it was delicious. Really enjoyed that little stopover. We went to the cultural centre as well, some fantastic Indigenous art, and we sort of came back and then had a look around Horn Island and went to the museum set up by Vanessa many, many years ago, who is now a long-term resident here, which showed the long history of Horn Island, which really, there was a lot of World War II story there. World War II had a big impact on this part of the world. Interestingly, the graves on Thursday Island, there's a lot of Japanese graves there from the pearl divers from over the years, and there's a theory that because of the several hundred Japanese people being there, that Thursday Island was never bombed by the Japanese, but Horn Island was bombed quite a bit. And on Friday, we went out to Friday Island. Of course we did. And saw that again, there were a lot of fortifications we saw on Hammond Island and the back of Friday Island. It was the front line for Australia protecting itself. So lots of remnants of World War II around. On Friday Island, we did some wonderful things, like went for a walk on the beach, just gorgeous sand beaches reaching out as far, completely untouched, hardly anyone around. And we went around to a pearl farm on the other side of Friday Island, where a Japanese chap who's been running it for 38 years is still there making pearls. A reasonably small farm, but great to see how it works, the nets that they use, the way the shells are harvested. Anne and I really didn't know anything about that and found it quite fascinating. But from there, we went over to Prince of Wales Island. James was our guide that day, a lovely little white dory that he has. And you could just tell he knows the waters so well. He grew up there, and we even found their own little version of the horizontal falls as we came around to his house, as the tide was just running the right way. Massive currents in this area. I swear there must have been 8 to 10 knots of current coming around the point as we went past it. And Francis was preparing lunch for us, and it's not often we get to have crayfish 2 days in a row, but it was crayfish and mackerel, freshly cooked and just divine. So a real shout out to you guys. You really looked after us that day and showing us around. We went for a little look around the island, found a little watering hole and had a swim. It was, really special. And then this morning, back out to the airport. Now, I meant to mention this at the start. I am, of course, wearing what I like to call a veskini. I suppose inspired in a bad way by Borat. But I do like to make things as small as possible. And rather than carrying around a full-size vest, I managed to get hold of this ribbon and elastic ribbon and made this vest so I can roll it up and put it in my pocket and barely know it's there. I realise how it looks, but it is very convenient. And, of course, got my ASIC card. Now, you can see there's a hive of activity behind us. There's caravans. There are Britten-Norman Islanders and some Cessnas and a lot of activity. There are airports all over these islands. Looking at this map, you can see inhabited islands has a runway so that they can be brought back for medical treatment or just simply going to school or dropping off the milk and the and supplies. So you see when they're loading the planes, there's all sorts of things going on board. You can see a lot of food stuff. So it's great that this service operates for here. So Horn kind of feels like the service island for all of the others, and it was a good spot to stay. But I'm so glad we went and saw the other islands. I will definitely come back here in the dry season. I would love to. I actually stopped here on my way back from Timor when I was doing my round the world trip back in 2015. I flew all the way from Timor to here, and I'd love to do that again with Anne and look around during the dry season when we can actually go and visit the islands. The northernmost island here is only a few kilometres off the coast of Papua New Guinea, and that'd be a great thing to go and explore and see. So, look, I'm going to give this about another half an hour, maybe an hour, to let this weather to the south move on a bit, and then I'll get going, and we'll chat in a few days. Cheerio.